September 3rd, 1958, 3:47 p.m. 8-year-old Sarah Johnson was playing hopscotch outside PS 154 on West 127th Street when the black Cadillac pulled up. She didn't notice at first, too focused on her game, on the chalk lines, on beating her friend Maria's record of 17 jumps without missing. Then the car door opened. A man stepped out. White. Expensive suit. Smiling. "Hey, sweetie, your Uncle Bumpy sent me to pick you up." Sarah froze. Uncle Bumpy had taught her rules. Important rules. Never talk to strangers. Never get in cars. Never trust anyone who says they know him, unless they use the code word. "What's the code word?" Sarah asked, backing away. The man's smile disappeared. "There's no time for games, kid. Get in the car." "No." The second man appeared from behind her, grabbed her, hand over her mouth before she could scream. Maria saw it happen, ran inside screaming for the teacher. But by the time anyone came outside, the Cadillac was gone, and Sarah Johnson, Bumpy's 8-year-old goddaughter, the daughter of his closest friend Raymond, had vanished. 4:15 p.m. Raymond Johnson burst into Small's paradise, face twisted with panic, tears streaming down his cheeks. Bumpy was in his office reviewing numbers from the policy banks. Willie Thompson sat across from him counting cash. The door slammed open so hard it cracked against the wall. "They took her," Raymond screamed. "They took my baby." Bumpy stood up immediately. "Who took who?" "Sarah." Two white men in a black Cadillac grabbed her outside the school. Everything stopped. Willie's hands froze mid-count. Bumpy's face went stone cold. Sarah, 8 years old, loved books and hopscotch and singing. Called Bumpy Uncle Bumpy, even though they weren't blood. He'd taught her to read, bought her birthday presents, promised Raymond he'd keep her safe. And someone had just taken her. When? Bumpy's voice was quiet, deadly. 30 minutes ago, Maria saw it happen. Two men, white, suits, Cadillac. They grabbed her and drove off. Bumpy walked to his desk, pulled out a gun, checked the chamber. Willie stood up. "Boss, who would be stupid enough to call Junie? Call quick. Call everyone. I want every man we have on the street in 10 minutes. What are we looking for?" "A black Cadillac with two white men and an 8-year-old girl. And when you find them, you don't shoot. You follow. You report. You wait for me." Raymond grabbed Bumpy's arm. "Bumpy, please. She's all I have." "If they hurt her," Bumpy looked his friend in the eyes. "They won't, because I'm going to find her, and whoever did this is going to regret being born." 4:30 p.m. The phone rang. Bumpy answered. What? A voice. Unfamiliar. Italian accent. Arrogant. "Bumpy Johnson? Who is this?" "You don't know me. But I know you. I know where you live. I know where you work. And I know you care about a little girl named Sarah." Bumpy's grip tightened on the phone. "Where is she?" "She's safe. For now. But that depends on you. If you hurt her, you'll do what?" "You're not in a position to threaten me, Johnson. I have your goddaughter. You want her back, you do exactly what I say." Bumpy forced himself to breathe. To think. "What do you want?" "You leave Harlem. Tonight. You pack your things. You take your wife, and you disappear. Florida, California, I don't care. But you're done here. And if I refuse, then Sarah doesn't make it to her 9th birthday." Silence. "You have until midnight," the voice continued. "Noon tomorrow. I want confirmation that you're gone. No police. No FBI. No tricks. Just leave. And the girl lives. I want proof she's alive." A pause. Then Sarah's voice. Small and terrified. "Uncle Bumpy? Sarah, baby, are you okay? I'm scared. There's two men and they won't let me." The phone was yanked away. The Italian voice returned. "She's fine. For now. Midnight Johnson. Make the right choice." Click. The line went dead. But here's what the kidnappers didn't know. Bumpy Johnson had been preparing for this moment for 5 years. 4:45 p.m. Bumpy's living room. 15 men crowded inside. Junie Bird, Willie Thompson, Raymond Quick, Samuel Chen, every crew leader, every lieutenant, every person Bumpy trusted with his life. Mamie stood in the doorway, arms crossed, face hard. She'd heard everything. Bumpy stood at the center of the room. Two men. Italian. Probably Genevieve's family. Maybe Gambino. They grabbed Sarah outside her school. Ransom demand. "I leave Harlem by midnight, or she dies." Raymond Quick exploded. "Those motherfuckers. We find them. We kill them. We." "No." Bumpy's voice cut through the rage. We think first. We plan. Because one wrong move, and Sarah's dead. Willie leaned forward. Boss, do you know who sent them? Not yet, but I will. Junie Bird pulled out a notepad. What do we know? Black Cadillac. 2 white men. Italian accents. They knew where Sarah goes to school. Knew her connection to me. Knew exactly how to hurt me. Inside information, Samuel Chen said quietly. Exactly. Which means someone's been watching us. Someone close enough to know our routines. Mamie spoke up. The question is why? Why now? Why Sarah? Bumpy walked to the window. Looked out at Harlem. His neighborhood. His kingdom. His responsibility. Because someone wants Harlem, and they think I'm the only thing standing in their way. So they take Sarah to force you out, Willie said. Classic mob tactic. But they made a mistake. What mistake? Raymond asked, voice breaking. Bumpy turned around. They think I'll choose safety over justice. They think fear will make me run. He pulled out a map of New York, spread it on the table. But I'm not running. And Sarah's not dying. Because we're gonna find her. And we're gonna destroy everyone involved. 5 p.m. The search began. Junie Bird mobilized 40 men. Every policy runner. Every numbers banker. Every street captain. They fanned out across Harlem, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. Looking for a black Cadillac. Looking for 2 white men. Looking for any sign of Sarah Johnson. Willie Thompson called every informant he had. Bartenders, cab drivers, shopkeepers. Anyone who might have seen something. Raymond Quick hit the docks, the warehouses, the industrial areas where mob crews operated. Samuel Chen checked with the Chinese networks, the laundries, the restaurants. Information flowed through immigrant communities, like water. And Bumpy? Bumpy made a different call. 5:15 p.m. Frank Costello. Frank, it's Bumpy. A pause. Bumpy. Wasn't expecting to hear from you today. Someone kidnapped my goddaughter, 2 Italian guys, demanding I leave Harlem or she dies. Silence on the other end. Then what? You heard me? Black Cadillac. 2 men. Professional job. Grabbed an 8-year-old girl to send me a message. Bumpy, I swear on my mother's grave, this isn't us. The commission would never authorize something like this. Then who? I don't know. But I'll find out. Give me 30 minutes. Frank, if any of the 5 families are involved, then I'll deliver them to you personally. We don't hurt kids, Bumpy. That's a line even we don't cross. Bumpy wanted to believe him. 30 minutes. He hung up. But while Bumpy was making calls, something was happening that would change everything. 5:30 p.m. Maria Rodriguez, Sarah's best friend, the girl who'd witnessed the kidnapping, was sitting with her grandmother in their apartment on 128th Street. She was crying, blaming herself. I should have screamed louder. I should have run faster. I should have... Mija, her grandmother said gently. This is not your fault. But Sarah's gone and it's because I didn't. The doorbell rang. Maria's grandmother opened it. Bumpy Johnson stood there, hat in hand, eyes sad but kind. Mrs. Rodriguez, I'm sorry to bother you. I know who you are, Senor Johnson. Please come in. Bumpy stepped inside, knelt down in front of Maria. Hey, sweetheart. I heard you saw what happened to Sarah. Maria nodded, tears flowing again. I need you to be really brave and tell me everything you remember. Can you do that? Maria wiped her eyes. There were 2 men. White. One was tall with black hair. The other was shorter with a scar on his face. Good. What else? The car was black and shiny. New. It had a thing on the front. Like a horse standing up. Bumpy's eyes widened. A prancing horse? Like this? He drew it on a napkin. Yes, exactly like that. A Ferrari logo. Not a Cadillac, a Ferrari. Which meant this wasn't the Italian mob. The families drove Cadillacs, Lincolns, Buicks, American cars, status symbols. But a Ferrari, that was European. Rare, expensive. Only one crew in New York drove Ferraris in 1958. The Corsicans. Oh no, this was so much worse than Bumpy thought. 6 p.m. Bumpy called an emergency meeting. Just his inner circle. Willie, Junie, Quick, Samuel. It's not the Italians, Bumpy said. It's the Corsicans. Everyone went silent. The Corsican mob, French criminals who'd fled Marseille after World War II, were the most ruthless organization in New York. They didn't follow the Italian Commission's rules, didn't respect territories, didn't care about honor or codes. They dealt in one thing, heroin. And they'd been trying to break into Harlem for 3 years. Bumpy had blocked them. Repeatedly. Violently. And now they'd struck back. Antoine Guerini, Bumpy said quietly. Has to be him. Antoine Guerini, Corsican boss, ran the French connection, the heroin pipeline from Turkey through France to New York, wanted Harlem as his distribution hub. Bumpy had refused, had destroyed 2 of his shipments, had killed 3 of his soldiers. And now Guerini had Sarah. Where would he take her? Willie asked. Somewhere isolated. Somewhere he controls. Somewhere he can leverage her if I don't cooperate. Junie pulled out a file. Guerini owns 3 properties in New York, a restaurant in Little Italy, a warehouse in Red Hook, and a mansion in Oyster Bay. The mansion, Bumpy said immediately. Too public in Little Italy. Too obvious in Red Hook. But Oyster Bay, isolated, private, perfect for holding a hostage. How do we get there without them knowing? Bumpy thought, then smiled. Cold, dangerous. We don't sneak in. We walk through the front door. 6:30 p.m. Frank Costello called back. Bumpy, I talked to everyone. Genovese, Gambino, Lucchese, Colombo, Bonanno. Nobody authorized a kidnapping. This isn't us. I know. It's the Corsicans. Costello cursed. Guerini. Yeah. That's bad, Bumpy. The Corsicans don't negotiate. They don't have rules. If he's got your goddaughter, I need intel. Everything you have on Guerini's operations. Properties. Routines. Weaknesses. Why would I help you with that? Because if the Corsicans think they can operate in New York without consequences, they'll come for you next. This isn't about Harlem anymore, Frank. This is about whether New York has rules or chaos. Silence. Then, I'll have everything to you in an hour. 7:45 p.m. The intel arrived. Antoine Guerini's mansion in Oyster Bay. 12-bedroom estate. Private beach. Guarded 24 hours a day. Current occupants. Guerini, his brother Jean-Baptiste, 8 bodyguards, and according to Costello's sources, 1 8-year-old girl being held in the East Wing. Bumpy studied the blueprints. They're expecting me to run or to come in guns blazing. They're not expecting strategy. What's the strategy? Willie asked. Bumpy smiled. I'm going to give them exactly what they want. 8 p.m. Bumpy Johnson walked into the Oyster Bay Police Department. The desk sergeant looked up, shocked. Can I help you? Yes. I'd like to report a kidnapping. Wait. The sergeant blinked. You're Bumpy Johnson. I am. The Harlem crime boss. That's one way to describe me, yes? And you're reporting a crime? My goddaughter was kidnapped this afternoon. 8 years old, taken by 2 men working for Antoine Guerini, a Corsican mobster who operates a heroin smuggling ring and is currently holding her at his estate here in Oyster Bay. The sergeant just stared. I have witnesses, descriptions, a vehicle identification, and the location where she's being held. I'm here to file an official report and request immediate police action. The sergeant looked around like this had to be a prank. Mr. Johnson, if this is some kind of... Bumpy leaned forward. My goddaughter's name is Sarah Johnson. She's 8 years old. She was grabbed outside PS 154 in Harlem at 3:47 this afternoon. The men who took her drive a black Ferrari with New York plates. They're holding her at 47 Anchor Drive. If you don't act in the next hour, a child dies. And every newspaper in America will know that the Oyster Bay Police Department had the information and did nothing. The sergeant swallowed hard. I need to call my captain. You do that. I'll wait. 8:30 p.m. Captain Edwards arrived. Mid-50s career cop. Suspicious. Mr. Johnson, you're telling me that Antoine Guerini, who we've been investigating for years without enough evidence, kidnapped your goddaughter and is holding her at his estate. Correct. And you expect me to believe that you, a known criminal, are coming to the police for help. I'm coming to you because the law is sometimes useful. And because if I handle this myself, a lot of people die, including your officers when they investigate the aftermath. Edwards studied him. You're serious. Deadly serious. You want Guerini? I'm handing him to you. Kidnapping a child. Federal crime. Life in prison. But you need to move now. Why would you help us arrest him? Because he took something from me, and I want him to suffer for the rest of his life. Death is too quick. Prison? That's justice. Edwards thought for a moment, then picked up the phone. Get me the FBI. 9:15 p.m. 12 police cars. 4 FBI vehicles. 28 armed officers and agents surrounded the Guerini estate. Bumpy Johnson sat in the back of Captain Edwards' car, watching. You're sure she's in there? Edwards asked. Positive. And you're willing to testify? If it means Guerini goes away forever? Absolutely. An FBI agent approached. We've got movement inside. Multiple individuals. We're ready to breach on your signal. Edwards looked at Bumpy one last time. If you're lying to me, I'm not. Edwards nodded to the agent. Go. 9:17 p.m. The front door exploded inward. FBI! Hands up! Guarini's bodyguards reached for their guns and were immediately swarmed by federal agents. 8 men on the ground in 30 seconds. Antoine Guarini stood in the center of his living room, face twisted with rage. What is the meaning of this? Antoine Guarini, you're under arrest for kidnapping, conspiracy, and human trafficking. I have done no such. An FBI agent emerged from the East Wing, carrying 8-year-old Sarah Johnson. She was crying but unharmed. The agent spoke into his radio. We've got the girl. She's safe. Guarini's face went pale. No, this is... Captain Edwards stepped forward. You kidnapped a child to extort a criminal. Federal crime. You're done, Guarini. As they dragged him away in handcuffs, Guarini's eyes locked on the police car where Bumpy sat, and he understood. Bumpy Johnson hadn't run, hadn't paid, hadn't fought. He'd used the law, the one weapon Guarini never expected. 9:30 p.m. Sarah ran into her father's arms. Raymond Johnson sobbed, holding his daughter, checking her for injuries. Baby, are you okay? Did they hurt you? I'm okay, Daddy. I was scared, but Uncle Bumpy found me. Raymond looked at Bumpy, tears streaming down his face. Thank you. I don't know how. You don't have to thank me, Raymond. She's family. Captain Edwards approached. Mr. Johnson, we'll need statements from both you and the girl, of course. And I have to say, I didn't expect this. What? You working with us? Most men in your position would have handled this differently. Bumpy looked at Sarah, safe in her father's arms. Most men aren't fathers, godfathers, protectors. I could have killed Guarini, could have burned his mansion down, but Sarah would have seen that violence, would have carried it with her forever. He turned to Edwards. This way she sees that justice exists, that even when bad things happen, there are people who fight for what's right. That's the lesson I want her to learn. Edwards studied him. You're a complicated man, Mr. Johnson. I'm a man who keeps his promises. I promised Raymond I'd protect his daughter. I did. 10 p.m. Bumpy sat in his living room, exhausted. Mamie brought him coffee. You did good today, Ellsworth. Sarah's safe. That's all that matters. The Corsicans won't forget this. Let them try again. They'll learn the same lesson Guarini did, which is, you can threaten me. You can threaten my business. You can even threaten my life. But the moment you threaten a child, you've already lost. Mamie smiled. And why's that? Because I'm not just a gangster, Mamie. I'm a protector. And there's no force in this world more dangerous than someone protecting the people they love. The phone rang. Bumpy answered. What? Frank Costello's voice. Bumpy, I heard what happened. The FBI raid. Guarini in custody. That was brilliant. It was necessary. You used the law against a mobster. Nobody's ever done that before. Then maybe more people should. The law's a weapon like any other. Just have to know when to use it. The Corsicans are going to want revenge. Let them try. Their boss is facing life in federal prison. His operations dismantled. His men are scattered. If they want to test me again, they'll end up the same way. Costello laughed. You know what, Bumpy? I'm glad you're on your side and not theirs. Me too, Frank. Me too. September 4th, 1958. 8 a.m. The newspapers were brutal. FBI dismantles Corsican heroin ring. New York Times. Mob boss arrested after child kidnapping. Daily News. Antoine Guarini faces life in prison. Herald Tribune. But buried in the Amsterdam News, Harlem's paper, was a different headline. Bumpy Johnson saves goddaughter, delivers kingpin to feds. The article told the whole story. The kidnapping. The ransom. Bumpy's decision to work with police. And the final paragraph, in a neighborhood where the law is often seen as the enemy, Bumpy Johnson proved that justice and community can coexist. He could have taken revenge through violence. Instead, he chose a path that protected his goddaughter and put a dangerous criminal behind bars. Whatever else history says about Bumpy Johnson, on September 3, 1958, he was a hero. 1 week later, Sarah Johnson sat in Bumpy's office at Small's Paradise, legs swinging, eating an ice cream cone. Uncle Bumpy? Yeah, baby? Why didn't you just shoot the bad men? Bumpy smiled. Because shooting them would have made me just as bad as them. And I didn't want you to think that violence is the only answer. But you're a gangster? Yeah, I am. But even gangsters have rules, Sarah. And one of my rules is that kids are off limits. Always. What if they try to take me again? Bumpy knelt down, looked her in the eyes. Then I'll find you again. Every time. No matter what, because you're my goddaughter. And protecting you is my job. Forever. Sarah hugged him. I love you, Uncle Bumpy. I love you too, baby girl. Years later, in 1968, when Bumpy Johnson died, thousands attended his funeral. Politicians, musicians, community leaders, and one woman in her 20s standing at the front, tears streaming down her face. Sarah Johnson, now Sarah Williams, a lawyer, a mother, a fighter for justice. She placed a hand on the casket. You taught me something that day, Uncle Bumpy. You taught me that strength isn't about how hard you can hit. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice to protect the people you love. She wiped her eyes. I became a lawyer because of you. Because you showed me that the law can be a weapon for good. That justice doesn't have to come from a gun. She smiled through her tears. Everyone remembers you as the godfather of Harlem. The crime boss. The gangster. But I remember you as the man who saved my life. Who showed me that even in darkness, there's still light. Rest in peace, Uncle Bumpy. And thank you for giving me a future. The legend spread through Harlem for decades. The story of the day Bumpy Johnson turned the law into a weapon and saved a child without firing a single shot. Parents told their children, teachers told their students, preachers told their congregations, and the lesson was always the same. Real power isn't destroying your enemies. It's protecting what matters, no matter the cost. If this story of protection, sacrifice, and strategic brilliance moved you, remember that the greatest victories aren't won with violence. They're won with intelligence, courage, and love. Bumpy Johnson proved that. And Harlem never forgot.